We are starting soon. Welcome back to the last episode of this season of Album Book Club. We are checking out The Great Deceiver by Mortiis. It came out in 2016. It is listed as an industrial album. I would say it is an industrial and pop, or not pop, electronic album. It's got some synth pop in it, is what I meant to say. Mortiis was originally the bass player for a band called Emperor. It's a black metal band from Norway back in the 90s. They're still kicking. He was in the band, I think, for only 1 year, 92 to 93. And this album was his big introduction to industrial rock while keeping what he was used to with that black metal and weird electronic and just goofy stuff.
Do you know why there's two eyes in Mortiis?
It was a misspelling for... I don't even remember the name, and there's a translation for it. I knew what it was, and I'm blanking on all of it. Would you like to fill it in?
No, but do you know what they call a fish with no eyes?
I hate these people.
Yeah, Mortiis is a cool dude. He wears a goblin prosthetic mask. He's got dreads.
Love that guy.
He just seems like he's having a great, chill time, so... Let's get right into our top three here. I have Sins of Mine, The Ugly Truth, and Doppelganger.
I have Feed the Greed, Scalding the Burnt, and Doppelganger.
I have Sins of Mine, The Shining Lamp of God, and Bleed Like You.
All right. I had The Shining Lamp of God, Feed the Greed, and Demons Are Back.
All right. And our bottom track, I had Hard to Believe.
Mine is going to be controversial. Sins of Mine.
I've got Scalding the Burnt.
I have The Ugly Truth.
Fair. Or it's going to be a divisive night here.
There's like one reason for that also.
There's only one reason for mine, too.
Yeah.
I got a load of reasons for mine. All right. I guess we're just going to hop right into track one, The Great Leap. I gave this a 7.5.
I gave it a 6.5.
5.
I give it a 6.5.
Yeah. First off, there's just a lot of energy on this track. It makes you feel like you're in the core of 2007. The mix is very, very black metal heavy, especially on this song. It kind of lightens up after this. And this song is also very profane for almost no reason. But it's fine.
It's okay, Logan. I have an exact count. He said it 23 times in 4 minutes. That's 5 FPM. That's crazy. But I agree with you. I really like how much drive this song has. I feel like it really pushes you forward, really brings you into the music. I really dig like the guitar and drum work going on. The vocals themselves aren't bad, but the lyrics were written by a 7th grader who just learned what curse words were. I'm sorry. It's just 23 in 4 minutes. That's crazy.
I don't know, man. Dr. Pepper has 23 flavors. I don't mind.
Well, that's Dr. Pepper. That's different.
I don't know. My problems were all mix related.
Well, wait. Hold on. That's 23 different flavors. This was 23 of the same flavor.
No, but see, it's the most versatile word in the English language. It can literally be used as anything.
But it's used the exact same way here.
It's used the same time.
Okay, well. I don't
It's
know.
the same line.
See, I'll have this complaint again later. I actually had a really hard time hearing the lyrics for most of the album just because the mix is so bad and so peaked and so weird.
Actually, I have the opposite problem, especially on the next song, but I did not have any issue really hearing the lyrics. But drums and guitar I thought were good. It just got way too repetitive. I'm not even as torn up about the actual lyrics as Carson is, but he just said it too many times in general. He said anything said 23 times, I'm going to get irritated with it.
I think we'll find this more as this goes on, but this is the wrong kind of electronic music for me, very much. And the mix is just a lot of that. Most of what I like is very bass heavy and very clear sounding stuff. So I like the form, I like the energy, I like all that stuff. It was just very, very hard to listen to.
I almost don't even consider this electronic. There's like 2 electronic songs and then elements of electronic kind of sprinkled in, mostly in the intros.
Yeah, I don't. It was. Is there a band other than the guitar?
So there is. I don't know how it all works. I think Mortiis writes everything, and they just play it. As far as I know, he's obviously doing vocals and then synth or bass guitar, or if not both.
Yeah, there might have been real drums. I don't know, but I didn't think there were real drums on any of the tracks.
So I know he does have a real band.
Yeah, to play that makes sense, but it sounds like it's mostly synthetic
sprinkled.
stuff.
There's there's some on here where it's that, or my ears are just very bad at picking up fake drums. But there's some that are very obvious samples.
There's I think it's a snare later. I'm pretty sure I have it in the other room. It's like a really metal sounding snare.
This album also features the world's worst hi-hat.
Yep. I mean that metal as in like he hit the lid of a trash can, not metal as in the metal music.
Oh, so like Saint Anger.
Yeah.
Exactly that kind of metal. Yeah. Anyone have anything else?
I like the energy. It reminds me a lot of a handful of bands I like. The 2000s is wrong, more like late 90s, but it reminds me a lot of different bands that I like. For some reason, it was the mix. I don't know. It gets better. It was just really hard to start here.
It gets better almost instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That almost instantly is The Ugly Truth, which I gave a 10.
I think this one a 7.
This one went up to a 6.
Gave this one a 6 also.
Look, I'm not going to lie. I like this album. But this one instantly just reminded me of playing like Doom. Not modern Doom. The Doom 90s. All of them. All 3 of them. And then just the vocal harmony they vaguely had where it wasn't quite in tune ever. I loved it. And the fact that all of the lyrics in the song, if you don't listen to them, are just hateful and mean, and then you go actually listen to them and read them, and they have a real story. It's kind of a good, cool take on the genre.
Do you know that real story? Because that may influence. That is most of my score is the lyrical content. Is why it's that low.
Yeah, so it's basically about being overworked and then thinking that we are deserved things because of it. And hence, like, there's a line in there, like, obviously about rape and stuff like that. It's like, but then the whole rest of the song is like, why do you think you deserve that? Oh, well, because you work and you work and you work and you work and you get nothing. So you just take what you want because you don't know anything else. It's just about people being broken and taking things because they're broken. They don't know what to do anymore.
And that's the ugly truth.
Yes.
I actually have a question for you. Do you know what was going on in the beginning of the song? Because I turned it up as loud as I could stand it, and I kept getting this like thing going on in only one ear, and I'm assuming that was on purpose. But it's only in the intro. It's almost like there's some whisper vocals or something. They're just buried.
I think he is whispering at one point, and then also there is a weird filter going on that I think is supposed to make it sound just old. It feels like a crappy carbon filter, or like someone's crumpling a piece of paper in front of the mic. I'm down for it. Don't know what it is. It's cool.
I was just curious if you knew what it was, because I couldn't discern like what was going on, and it was during the intro.
So I am much along the same thought process as Connor. It was mainly the lyrical content for me, and I did actually go back and read a lot of it. And understanding the story does help with the lyrical content. I just don't think it's something that I would want to put on again. You know, I don't connect to it as well.
If somebody gives you the aux and you playing this to people who aren't fully listening to it and don't know the story, it's going to be a problem.
Depends on where the ox is. If you're in an abandoned warehouse, this is the right thing.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Or if you're all wearing clown masks driving around in like a 1993 Geo Prism, this is the right thing.
Damn, he brought up a
I was just
Geo
saying,
Prism.
that was a deep cut right there. I thought you,
Holy hell.
I heard Geo. I was like, oh, we're going to get the Metro. All right. Prism. Wow.
Yeah, man.
That's one of those ones you have to think about to remember what it looks like.
Yes.
I think me and one other guy picked one of those up one time. I think that's the car.
Are you saying you lifted the car or that two people have ever owned the car?
No. We lifted the
Okay.
car. Yeah, we almost rolled it over. We got it to its point and then dropped it because we realized they couldn't afford to fix it. It was not a funny prank.
All right, Carl, what you got to say about this song?
I really like the electronic intro. That was it. I said everything else. The mix was better. It was just still kind of thin here. It is not that I hate the mix. There's just some resonant peaks at spots that are pretty rough for me. That was it. You guys pretty much said everything. Other than this one really gave me Rob Zombie vibes, which is not a bad thing.
That's all of them.
No,
I don't have it written down for another two songs, but yeah.
This song specifically gave me House of a Thousand Corpses vibes, not Rob Zombie's music career, and I
Right.
can't make that
Right.
any more clear.
No, that is exactly yeah. No, not like White Zombie, like Rob Zombie the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get into track 3 here with Doppelganger. I give it a 9 out of 10.
I gave this one an 8.5.
I think this one might have been my lowest song. I think I failed. This was a 4.
I gave this one a 7.
Yeah, intro goes hard. The guitars also play a harmonic like run that's very similar to the like collect call hum, and that clicked in my brain. I thought that was fun. There was a whole lot of drive in it, and ironically enough, a lot of bass coming through for how much they tried to cut it. Chorus was very different from the rest of the song. That threw me for a loop. There was a dirty warehouse electronic breakdown, as I have written. It was just fun.
My note about that is really funny.
I'm glad to see that I'm not the only one that wrote really ambiguous things about things I probably could have explained but didn't.
Mine just says in all caps at the very bottom of my notes, now those are beeps and boobs.
Yeah, I wrote synth is cool when it is.
My last note, I think we all did this, was that this one had more electronic elements than the rest.
Oh, for sure.
I decided to write that one in English.
Glad one of us did. I really liked the build-up intro. I thought it was really well done. The only thing that kind of I didn't like, and this is a little bit nitpicky, it's the pace of the vocals when they come in. And there is a song later that does the same like intro vibe where they build it up, but the intros are quick, and it's just better later. I think the lyrics are a lot better in this one. The cursing is much more sporadic. It's not just on top of you the whole time. And this is the first time I think I've ever liked some type of drone in the background. I don't know what was going on. I don't know what instrument it was, but the drone going on in the background, I actually thought it sounded pretty good.
It's in a couple of them. I couldn't tell if it was a really bit-crushed guitar or vocals with a really heavy effect on it, but it's some kind of drone. It happens a couple times.
I'm going to kill my headphones. They were cutting in and out while I was talking there, and I was having an aneurysm.
This was another one that I actually could not tell at certain points when he was singing because of the mix. Whatever else was going on was covering the vocals so bad. We had to like go back and re-listen to tell if there were even vocals going on. And even then I couldn't tell what he was saying. So, interesting. It was probably on purpose.
Yeah, that's kind of something I'll touch on a little is Mortiis does different eras. And this is kind of his revert back to, I want to say, era 1, which would have been him coming straight out of Emperor and then starting this project. So it's closer to that, 18, 19-year-old anger, because, that would have been around the time of all the like Lords of Chaos era stuff in black metal. Look it up. I'm not explaining. I'm not getting into it here.
You know what is funny about the lyrics? On Apple Music, if you're following the lyrics, you'll actually notice that there are full chunks of songs that aren't written down because they couldn't notate them, and there are lines that end halfway through the line because they couldn't understand what was going on after.
That's how it is on his Bandcamp.
Really?
The other lyrics are not they're not real words. They're like delay trails or something that have just stayed along for so dang long. There's one song where I thought he was singing, and he definitely hummed into the mic, and then they used the delay trail from that and lined it up with a synth note, and then carried it into a synth line. And I was like, that was cool.
Dang. So I wasn't losing my mind. I just wish they'd do that for the Red Hot Chili Peppers when he's out of lyrics instead of just singing ding dong, higgity bing bong, or whatever else he says.
Yeah, no, he's just those aren't actual lyrics. It's just weird delay stuff and reverb kicking, and sometimes they'll just go the mic.
Yeah, that made me severely uncomfortable the 3 or 4 times that happened. Because, I mean, if you're what we do is weird because we're trying to critically listen. And if you're critically listening and catching something like that, you're like, okay, what did I miss? If you're it's almost like doing a game review and trying to play a game you don't know is a horror game and that kind of thing happening and be like, what was that? It's just really funny. I don't know. Led to an interesting time on this track specifically. I think that's the only time I have that written.
Yeah. All right. We ready for the next track? That is Demons Are Back. I gave this one a 7 out of 10.
I gave this one an 8.
Yeah, this one got a 5.
This one got an 8.
I think this is when reality started to set in that I shouldn't just ride the crap out of this album. I did also set in my mind that this is just if Rob Zombie covered Supermassive Black Hole.
Yep.
There's way more to this song than that, but that's the gist of it, and it's a vibe.
I literally wrote this is a B-side to a White Zombie album.
This is the first one that has a Rob Zombie note on mine as well.
What's funny is my first note on here kind of mirrors last week. I just go, I think I'm starting to like Mortiis.
What do you mean mirrors last week?
It's the opposite of last week.
It's the opposite.
Oh, gotcha.
For some reason, this whole song really felt like it belonged in a cyberpunk-esque setting, and that comes back a lot later. I think the instrumental here is absolutely crazy. I'm in love with almost every single piece of it. More beeps and boops. Plus, I have no idea what the guitar is doing near the end of the song and middle way through, but it's cool. It's really cool.
Wah wah.
Yeah, a little bit of wah wah going on. And then it just had a beautiful chug to it.
You should know what a wah is. We showed you.
I know what a wah is, but
Wow, 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 wow.
there's a lot going on.
I thought about it. I don't think it's a wah pedal used in here. I think he's just doing that.
Could be. It also could be an envelope filter or something horrifying.
I see. Then he's just going up to the mic whoa.
It could be that.
Rip headphone users. So somebody's computer just jumped off there.
So somebody could finally hear us through their television set that they watch us through every week.
I don't have anything. Why are you looking at me? Oh, no.
You're
I
the
wrote,
beautiful chug.
Seems like you just had one.
Yeah, I did. I did have something. I'm sorry. I liked that there was a little bit of bass in the intro. I enjoyed it.
Wow, I'm pretty sure we've already said everything that's written down. Bass is cool, and I can finally hear it. And I think that doesn't go away either. The bass is here for
It
the rest
stays
of the
back,
album,
yeah.
which is cool. Because I think the first note on the next song is the bass is still here. The guitar wah-wahs. There's not a ton of lyrics on this, but I kind of feel like there was supposed to be, which happens kind of a lot where I'm listening to a part of any of these songs. I'm like, I feel like he should be saying something here. And then as soon as I think that, he starts saying something. It's like he can hear me or hear me thinking.
He's in your head, bro.
This is the part where I realized that my brain's just completely looked past the black metal mix of this. It's like, all right, I don't care anymore. It's fine. Oh well.
Yeah.
You just gotta settle in.
Well, if it was all as bad as the first track, that's a different story. But it got significantly better from the second track on, and then after that, I'm like, all right, it's fine. Maybe that was his plan. Show us how bad it could have been, and then do it better for the rest of it.
I do want to touch on that because this is pretty much where the big shift in the album comes. You get a lot more electronic after this. Well, I mean, first you get weird acoustic, then you get electronic, and I think that is the name of the game with the album. I mean, The Great Deceiver. The first 3 tracks are like the heaviest 3. And then
I will
it
say
switches it up.
this album did deceive me. I did not expect it to sound like this at all.
Yeah, I wonder if the frequency they peak at. I'll have to look that up. I'll have to look up what the peak frequency is on like an HM2 or one of those kind of pedals, because I bet it's exactly where my tinnitus notches are.
We can play around with one in real time. I have it.
Well, yeah, but like I'm saying, it will. Something about it like physically caused me pain on the mix this time. That was why.
That thunder just... I genuinely thought something in the studio just broke because how
Probably
loud
did.
that was. All
Claude's
right.
still good. We're fine.
Yeah, Claude's still here. All
I
right.
think we're still live.
Looks like it. Let's go ahead and hop on to track number 5. Hard to believe. I give this a 6 out of 10.
I gave this one a 7.5 out of 10.
5.5.
7.5. I think we're the same person this
Yeah,
week.
we're linked, bro.
So this one was sounded like bad Alice in Chains meets late Ozzy,
Yep.
and I don't really enjoy either of those things.
I don't mind either of those things. No wonder.
I don't mind late Ozzy, but I don't like Bad House and Chains.
Yeah, some of it's fine, but when it's bad. So yeah.
I really liked how this one started. There's another song like I have a particular fondness of that like builds the same way, where they take each piece and they start layering it on top of each other. I really love all the cool noises we get. The guitar is really cool, and I think this lyrically is a much better take on a heavier subject than what we got before.
I realized about halfway through our review of this that all of my notes are about the bass still existing and not being hidden again. I like this one. The bass is still here. I think I forgot to write anything else down.
Fair enough.
Look, if I had to pick a song, I would flat out skip listening to this album. It's this one.
Nope, there's one later.
It's so different. Half the distortion's gone. I don't think all the distortion is ever gone on this album, but most of it's gone here. The rhythm section is just not my favorite. It moves in a weird way. It's all right. It's not bad. It's just not for me. And it also came at a weird time, which I guess, it is deceiving me. But track 5, I was not ready for what should have been track 12.
Probably would have liked this better as track 12. Yeah, you're right.
So it was a weird place, but I get it. I respect it. Makes logical sense. It's not my decision.
I think at this point I'd figured out that it was just going to keep bouncing around and kind of do whatever it wanted to. That was just kind of the vibe.
That is the vibe. I think that's just how he operates. He's like, yeah, I'll just do what I want.
I really did try to like fix this with EQ and stuff to listen to it. I really did. I almost drug it into Reaper. Like I got that close.
Carl, if it makes you feel better, I expected you to not get very far past the mix on this one.
It's just my tinnitus is so bad in a couple spots, and that's where it peaks. That's got to be it.
I've had that problem before.
I think it's like right in my sweet spot of like not ever hitting it and
That's where it is
disrupting
for
my
me.
listening. Yeah, I love the black metal mix.
Yeah, you play guitar, so it's probably like yours is probably either higher or lower than mine is, because mine in this ear is from rim shots,
Mine's blown out from bass guitar in my right ear.
and this is hi hat in this ear. So this one's a little lower, and I think that's exactly where it is the rim shot notch.
Oof.
It is what it is.
I think mine came from the saxophone.
Dang.
I was in that practice room a lot.
Yeah, protect your ears, kids. That's important.
Yeah, when you're playing in like an enclosed space without real sound protection, like protect your ears.
I am very bad about playing loud in my basement without ear protection.
Yeah, I know.
It also didn't help that I sat right in front of our trumpet section.
Yeah,
That sucked.
Yeah, we really should be using hearing protection if you're going to crank up like that in the basement. If stuff is falling off the walls, it's too loud.
All right, that was when we decided to turn down because we were like, all right, that's really loud. It's fine. All right, we'll go on to track number 6, Road to Ruin. Give this an 8 out of 10.
Give it a 7.
I give this one a 6.
Give it an 8.5. I think I missed this when I was lining up my top 3.
Yeah, it's got a weird, ethereal, but like club style synth in the intro. The lyrics in this one, take them or leave them. To be completely honest, they were all right. They were fine. Everything in this song progressed properly, in the weirdest way it could, and I'm also 99% sure they sampled a tornado siren or something like in the background and just remixed it. It was great.
Yeah, way more electronic than anything we've heard so far, and I was here for it. Stole a lot of my notes because I also thought this was a club beat. I did not have that issue with the vocals. I thought they fit the style that this song was very well.
Oh, I just meant the actual lyrical content was like it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
The vocals, yeah, the cadence and all that, it was great.
And then the crushed synth at the end was really good. And my other note is, I don't think anything is going to stop him.
All right. How did you guys feel about that intro? Because it like you're suddenly standing in like an open void, staring at your own reflection. You know, that's what it makes you feel. And then you're in cyberpunk world, and it's great.
Yeah, and then Charlie XCX shows up.
It's weird. And this is actually the song where I got the note, like, this is not what I thought this album would be. Like, this is where I solidified in my brain, yeah, no, I have been tricked.
He was deceived.
I was deceived. I love the way they actually weave everything together in this one. It's super cool, and it had me in this, like, nice groove the entire time. But this is the first one that feels kind of long, and that's mainly due to, like, how stretched out the outro is. And I think that's why it scored just a little bit lower.
I don't know. I actually wrote the mix is almost okay, so I must have liked this one. I also wrote "Where's my glow stick," so I'm assuming that's referencing the club mix because like it immediately I was like, oh, they turned the lights out and
It's very,
everyone
like-
started drinking glow sticks.
It's like the intro of Blade. If you remember that scene,
Mm-hmm.
this would fit right in.
Yeah, don't drink glow sticks, kids.
Do. It makes your throat glow, I swear. Try it. But I didn't tell you that.
Logan.
Don't drink glow sticks. Adults can.
If you're old enough for this to not affect us legally, you can
Yeah,
drink
you
glow
can drink
sticks.
glow sticks. All right, you guys ready for track 7? It's Bleed Like You. I give it a 7.5.
I gave it a 7.
6.5.
6.5. Let me get this out of the way.
Wow. No, I get it. I feel straight off the bat like I'm being interrogated. It's either straight out of Transformers or a cop drama. And at any given moment, Megatron may walk through the door. It moves for it being like a lot of one thing, which was kind of surprising. I don't know how to explain it. It never felt stuck in one spot, even though it didn't progress very much. But I think that's just called a normal song, and I've been listening to a lot of prog.
Sorry, I'm cracking up because I want to just like I don't define what you said because I don't think it sounds anything like Linkin Park, so it can't be Transformers the movie. But if it was Transformers the cartoon, I see what you're saying.
No. I mean, like, when you think of Transformers, not like any of the music related to it. When you just think of Transformers.
That's what the cartoon sounded like.
Yeah, does this music just not fit in with the thought of it? Like,
Yeah.
take Michael Bay's Transformers, and then if they existed, this would be their theme music.
No, because
not Linkin Park.
No, because if anyone says Transformers, I just start hearing like late Linkin Park. That's it. That's the only thing you can hear.
Yeah.
What I've done. Gosh. All right, so this song, I thought the build-up was cool, but this is like the third or fourth time we've seen this. We've seen the like build it all in pieces, intro build-up, and it'd be nice to get some more variation on that. I thought the drums and the guitar sound very cool. There's also a noise in the background that I couldn't quite discern what it is. It kind of sounds like a horn, but I can't tell which one. And I thought it sounded pretty cool. And this one is neat, but I definitely get the thumbs up because it's just kind of here for me. Like, it's enjoyable, but it's just kind of here.
I did have one extra note. It's just that the snare is kind of interesting. I don't know where that came from, but
Yeah,
broke the rule a little bit.
I think I decided it wasn't real drums, so I stopped complaining about them. This had a cool change up in like what I guess would have been the bridge. The song randomly was a different song for like 30 seconds. I'm all about that. Other than that, everyone else had all the rest of my notes.
Yeah, I think my biggest note about this song is that it's correct. Song 5 is wrong. This is where the pullback should have been, and it was. This was a slightly slower track. They deceive you. The next track is balls to the walls, but this one is pulled back. It's a little more revised. You know, you're kind of reaching that second half of the end. You flipped the vinyl by now. So yeah, good track. That takes us to our next track though, Scalding the Burnt, which I gave an 8.
8.5.
5.
7.5.
Yeah, this is just Cyberpunk meets Mortal Kombat,
Yep.
like the old Mortal Kombat.
Entering
theme
the
song.
mainframe as intro. Good lord.
Loved it.
Yeah,
Great.
it was awesome. You get the hell yeah we're in kind of like it just snaps into it. And this is actually how fast I wanted the vocals in Doppelganger to be. Like it kept up the pace. I was like, oh, this is just Doppelganger but better.
Yeah, you actually said what my biggest problem was because it had all the same problems with Doppelganger. It's just it was faster, so it got a point higher. This time the fry vocals or Bitcrust vocals or whatever effect he's using were completely unintelligible for me for most of the song. And again, that might have been on purpose.
Everything but the chorus. So I think it was on purpose. I think it was like, hey, look at these cool synths, and then a chorus.
I do have a note that says holy synth, that sounds awesome. Like I was
Awesome.
just yeah, right. I
Mike
was
Tyson.
super into synths.
Makes sense. Or what I say makes sense.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Carson took everything that I have here. Techno intro, vocals, and very good energy.
Do you have a hell yeah note?
Everything I said and more.
God, is that from regular show? The guy whose name is Techno? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tecmo.
Tecmo.
Yeah.
That dude's face just randomly popped in my head when you said techno. That's why I was like, what in the world?
I do think it's a wild choice to put the super high BPM Go song after your kind of slow pull down track.
We haven't got to the slow pullback track yet.
Well, but then the next
That's
track,
true. That is.
it's weird.
It's like flip flopping right now.
Yeah, it does this like.
I love it. Yeah, let's get into that next track because we're gonna talk about it. Shining Lamp of God. I gave it a 9 out of 10.
I gave it an 8.
6.5.
I also gave it a 9.
Look, they start chugging on a synth, and I don't know how you can't give good points for that. Everything's just doing so much, but it's not in the way of each other. Carl probably disagrees with that. Oh, he doesn't.
No.
The mix doesn't help it.
Nope.
But fortunately, the AirPods that I hated last week helped this week. So you're still not on my like list, but you're lucky this time. It's just everything's great.
Yeah, that intro, the guitar is straight from like the Sonic soundtrack. Like it sounds almost exactly like the guitar tone for I think it's Live and Learn. I think that's the song name. It was really funny to like pull that. I was like, why are we listening to Sonic music? This is kind of awesome. I love the drive we get in this one. It just pushes you forward the whole time. It's great. And I think the vocal screams and like the vocal fry actually sounds really good. I'm really into it.
So this was the Marilyn Manson track. Pretty dead on. But I wrote a really cool note here that it feels more like what they want, which means I could hear that the band was having fun on the track or whatever, that Mortiis is having fun. you could kind of hear the enjoyment coming through this track, which was cool because you don't get a lot of that elsewhere on this album.
This song, I love how it opened. Kind of way heavier than everything else, which is already not heavy to begin with. This song stands out the most on this album. It probably because it doesn't sound exactly like a Rob Zombie song. But what else did I? They brought the Bit Crusher was working overtime on this one.
Yo.
I did like the beep boop vocal line that led us back into the chorus. There's like one or two little beep boops, some small to point out, and then I like this one a lot.
Yeah, this is a lot closer to the other Mortiis stuff I listen to. I kind of think this is what he prefers doing, and I was really backed into a corner on what I could bring you guys. I was like, what are they not going to hate, but what's fun and new that no one there has heard? It's like, Mortiis is that. But half his albums are like 8 songs in 10 minutes of just beeps and boops and goofy, weird, and fun. And
So it's like Rammstein.
yeah, pretty much. And
Oh yeah.
not even to kind of touch into black metal. Emperor is a band that a lot of people dislike in black metal because they never took themselves too seriously like you were supposed to. They had fun and just did goofy stuff and didn't really, I mean, they fit the image and they did what they were supposed to, but they wanted to have fun while they were doing it like you should. And they get a lot of crap for it. So I can understand why he does all the goofy, weird, fun, wacky stuff. He's like, even with like the goblin mask, he's like, yeah, I'm just Mortiis, man.
This is random, but is it Du Hast that has all the weird like in the beginning, like the little keyboard thing? Rammstein.
I know Rammstein. Maybe.
So at one point, I had a video saved on YouTube that was just the intro and the guy walking on a treadmill for 10 hours, and it just constantly looped. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen. Sorry, I know I'm just trying to stall. Sorry, guys.
I'm like, this guy.
Doesn't Du Hast have like it's got a goofy instrument
Yeah,
in it, like a slide whistle or something weird hidden in there.
I'm sure.
That makes
It is a really funny song.
Yeah, I know.
Groove is in the Heart has a slide whistle, by the way.
So I think Logan just told me I will probably like other Mortiis more than this Mortiis.
Yeah, I definitely check out the stuff from the 90s.
Cool.
All right. We ready to go to track 10? Sins of Mine. I give this a 10.
Logan May hit me 4.5.
I'm gonna give this one a 7.5.
Give this one an 8.
This is why Logan May hit me. I didn't care. I wasn't for it. I was like,
He wasn't for
slow
it. Get it?
boo, slow. That's all it was for me.
Yeah, but it was the right kind of slow. This was randomly like David Bowie walked
This
in
was
the room.
this was another one of those like closer to what he plays normally.
Yeah, so my 2 favorite songs on the album are what actually he sounds like. That's
Yeah.
good to know. Oh, I said that in the dumbest way possible. I really liked the random Brit rock thing. Big spacious chords. Again, the mix was my biggest problem here. I lost some of the vocals, but again, I think that is on purpose. Now that you've told me that, I'm kind of like, okay, well, that note's invalid. So
It's funny. My last note here is vocals are pretty okay, I guess. But everything else about the song is really cool. It's all just kind of, I don't want to call it ambient, but this is the pseudo acoustic one, right?
Kinda, yeah.
Vaguely.
Kinda.
It's
It
just,
has the
it's
idea.
melancholy and weird. It's
There-
like if the Beatles took acid in Norway, and that's the only way I can describe it.
Well, it's like it has the feel of acoustic with the like ambient drones in the back, which is a cool thing to pull off. But this is also the one we were talking about earlier with the drone that I can't figure out if it's a synth with Bit Crusher or if it's a vocal line that's just been has 35 effects on
Mashed,
Yeah.
destroyed.
it. Either way, it sounds good. I liked it. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, I actually referenced this song earlier. This is where the intro is like a weird kind of vocal track that is slowed, reversed, reverbed, and then like delayed, and the delay trail is what leads into the synth picking it up. That's just beautiful, man. That's some primo work there. And then everything just gets weird. It gets fun. There's a whole synth section that's all just done with the pitch wheel. You just crank the pitch wheel up and play it in the different key. It's very fun. It just reminded me of being on an old merry-go-round as a kid, where it's like 80 years old and the speakers are going out. Just this whole song. Something just felt so right about this song. I could have not loved it. It's built for me.
Yeah, there was a bunch of weird things that I did. But whatever. I get it.
Did you never, like, as a kid, ride a merry-go-round or something with just, like, the speakers with the carnival music and stuff going on? And it was just, the speakers were going out and it just sounded like crags. Like,
yeah.
That was everything when I was growing up.
That's fair, yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you'd go through the McDonald's and they'd be like, and you would be like, yes, one Big Mac.
Dang, dude, you gotta play with Mortiis.
Man, this is a double rip headphones user episode.
Don't laugh, Carson. You may make it a triple.
You backed away from the mic. All right. Are we ready?
Yeah. All right, we'll go to track 11, Feed the Greed. I give this a 7.5.
8.5.
This one's a 6.
Gave this one an 8.
We're so back. Good Lord, we're so back. That's all I have to say about this one. Hell yeah, it's awesome. I said if Hell Yeah was a song. A lot of my notes are just we are so back, and I find that hilarious. My first 3 notes.
You just like 9 Inch Nails. You should really listen
This
to 9
one is
Inch
the
Nails.
one.
Yeah, that's actually, I wrote 9 Inch Nails featuring Skrillex as my only note
Every
here.
song you've gotten really hyped for are the really industrial rock ones. I'm like, okay, he just likes 9 Inch Nails. You should check out Rob Zombie some more, too.
I love Rock Zombie and I love 9 Inch Nails. This is not news. But yeah, it gave me so much of that. And this one did give me a lot of Rob Zombie too. It just made me groove the whole time. It's just good. You know what? I'm going to bump it up to a 9.
That was my whole note.
For 9
Well,
Inch
9 Inch
Nails.
Nails featuring Skrillex.
Yeah.
I wish I had something else. I have a long intro.
Your whole notes was just to dunk on me.
To sneak this. Yes.
You know, it's funny you say the long intro note because I have that as my first note too, but it's not a negative.
No, mine says plus or minus. I said to give.
It's about a minute 30, roughly. That's when I looked and wrote it down. It was I tried to eyeball the math on when it actually started, somewhere around there. But after this ambient almost intro, it turns into like a PS2 menu music, which is funny because you brought up the Sonic soundtrack earlier.
Yeah.
I was like, it could be that too. I was liking this one. Love the energy.
Yeah, I didn't dislike anything about this song. It just, I mean, I think the last song was just so hitting to me that this song couldn't have ever done that much. It's got that 16th note drive to it. It's got a fun vocal cadence. Can't disrespect it. There is a fun, weird drum break in the middle that just immediately leads into cyberpunk synths.
It's awesome.
It is awesome. And there's constant build-ups throughout this whole album. And I'm not sick of it yet. We're on the second to last track. There's a build-up at towards the end of this song. And I loved it. It just, the rise and falls are great. Can't get enough. We ready for the last track? All right, puts us track 12, Too Little, Too Late, which got a 7.5.
I also gave it a 7.5.
This one a 6.
Gave this one a 7.
Good outro. It pulled back about as much as I think they could have for me to have not been very angry at the outro. This is the song that had the worst hi-hat I've ever heard in my life. And then it had a funky, weird beat going that drug the outro out, which I was not mad about in any way. It was like a minute and a half outro of just nothing but noise. That's cool.
I did get surprised when my Apple Music auto-played the next track. I was like, oh, hell, that was over for a minute. No, I really liked the fact that we're going into the last song at the pace we are. I really like the pace we get into. This one also reminded me a lot of Rob Zombie. And I really like everything going on. All the different instrumentation going on here. And I think we get a little bit out there at some points with the beeps and boops. You know, they stretch it a little far. But overall, I think it's a really solid ending track.
The only thing you guys haven't said yet is it had a cool keyboard solo.
For me, this one it's like we went back to the beginning of the album, but kept some of the electronic feel from the ending. It was all right. I didn't love this song as much as everybody else did, but it's fine. It's a pretty decent outro. I think we talked about one earlier that I would have rather been the outro. I don't remember which one we said.
That's
it would have been
track 5.
It would have been a more interesting outro. This is probably the expected outro, so I'm not mad at it, but it's fine.
Yeah. I think as a whole, it's a funky little piece, this last track. Because it doesn't ever quite wrap up the album like you'd expect it to. It's its own thing. It's like, all right, bye. And I kind of like it for what this has been.
I was going to say, I like that about it. Like, that's part of why I like it.
It's like a roller coaster ride. You step off, and it's like, see ya. It just
Get
takes
out.
off.
Well, yeah, compared to last week where we had a solo and a screaming crowd for 5-6 minutes.
I don't think we have ever had good pacing with our albums on the show.
That of them had great pacing last week. The last track just didn't.
No, I mean like of the albums we have on
Oh.
weekly. And we went from what, MF Doom to what's your
Closure in
artist?
Moscow.
Yeah, Closer in Moscow to Mute Math to Mortiis.
Yeah, but that was by design. We all just picked one.
Yeah. Speaking of pacing, let's get right on to it. Gave it an 8.
I also gave it an 8.
6.
I also gave it an 8.
Yeah, it's really track 5 is really what took away 2 points for me. I think if that slowdown wasn't where it was, frankly, I think if you cut that track, you're not going to hear any complaints from me about the rest of the album. And it gets a 10.
Logan, that's exactly how I feel about track 10. And it just sucks because that's the one I didn't really latch onto. It's just one stinker, and the rest of the album is a super easy listen. All of it fits together really well. You get a bunch of cool sounds the whole time. And it just went on a little bit long for the slow songs. That's all it is.
I just got to the album moves fast and it's high energy, but there's a lot of like flip flop, which I usually like. I just think because I didn't enjoy the album itself, I think I struggled a little bit.
The 2 points that were lost for mine are for like the first half of the album. I think the flip flopping I can handle just because of the style, and it's kind of like teasing the other elements that'll be in later songs. Like this one might be, the next one's probably gonna be less electronic because this one has a club beat. But the first 3 or 4 were like the same Rob Zombie song over and over again, and then they finished with the same Rob Zombie song. But I mean, I don't know how exactly to fix that without swapping one of the songs for one that's not on this album.
I say, frankly, I think it's just you have to. I think the honest answer is for us 3, you take one off and it fixes most of the problems.
But like, I'm not mad. It's not hurt. It's got an 8. That's not a very hurt score, really.
Honestly, if you take one off and then remove the lyrical content on 2 of them, like this is like a 10.
I think if you swap the Great Leap for something that's in like the boring middle part of the album, and I don't get hit with the mix right off, I think my overall scores for the whole album go up a point.
Probably.
I mean, because I was 1.5, 2 points off of you guys the whole time, and it was just because like I was angry about the mix from the first track, the entire album.
There's also a very good chance that my score is a little, well, under a 10, I guess, just because it took me 3 songs to figure out what was happening exactly.
Luckily enough, for most people that don't do what we do and force ourselves to listen to an entire album, The Great Leap is a perfect song. Because if you cannot tolerate that song, go ahead and leave.
Yep.
It is objectively the worst of everything, but it's just a showcase of how bad it can get. And I think it's a really good for what it is. Frankly, Carl, I don't think you would ever seek this album out in your free time. Maybe his other stuff, but not this specific album.
I've definitely disliked things more. There are things we've had to listen to before that I would very, very easily give every track on an album if there's a 1 or a 2, if not a 0. This is just one of those, like, yeah, this is a real band. This is someone that has a real background. I don't have to be nice.
Mm-hmm.
And they made these choices on purpose to do things that I didn't like. So again, I don't have to be nice. It wasn't for me, and that's not a bad thing. That's all it was.
All right. We'll go on to album art. I gave it a 10.
I give it a 6.5.
6.
7.
I'm interested to hear the 10. I kind of want to know why.
It really reminds me of those homies from Doctor Who. And then also, the Great Deceiver is the devil. And then the factor of having something devoid of a face that looks human-esque, that if you were to see it as a shadow would deceive you. It's just, everything is correct. I think it's also playing like a weird era that we don't typically see much of anymore. This was a big thing 10 years ago when this came out, so it's just a good nostalgia plug to me.
I have one big 2.5 point gripe.
Yeah, I bet yours is what mine is.
Type font.
Oh, no.
Excuse me, why isn't the M in Mortiis connected? Oh yeah, it's because of the stupid graphic box that you have around your name. Like, it removes part of the type font for the letter M.
Did anyone else see the edit lines around the face? There's terrible Photoshop blur around the edges of the face, and I saw it on, like, when it was up on my Apple Music and was this big. I could see what was leftovers of the Photoshop. And I was like, come on, guys. I was like, try a little harder than that.
See, I can't. I'm not pulling it up.
I'm zoomed all the way in on it. I don't see.
Maybe it's blurred on purpose.
I think this is supposed to just look like a person that presumably have crosses all over them and a bunch of hoodoo stuff.
Check out that M, though. It's not connected. It's weird, ain't it?
Oh, yeah. No, I know. It doesn't bother me. This whole album is not connected. Everything makes sense.
I don't think that was done on purpose.
I've seen that. I need to. That's kind of cool. All right, I didn't see the
M
the
isn't
guy
connected?
fighting the dragon at the top until right now. That's kind of cool.
I just think make the graphic box smaller or make the M smaller. It's just,
the O isn't connected to anything. Neither's the R. None of these letters are touching.
I mean, like, the M is not complete. There is no top of the second arch.
Yeah, there is.
It's completely hidden.
It's vague through the dragon's head, but there is a line through it, and then
it's supposed to be, like, right up here.
Yeah, it connects through. I'm smoking crack. There's a line.
Yeah, there's a line.
It connects.
Yeah, so there's,
I don't know
like,
the way it's supposed to.
the way the lighting is, there's distortion around the crown here, and then part of the ear's cut off. And I noticed it from, like, when it was, like, this big. I was like, come on, guys. I mean, I get it. Everyone has their demo of Photoshop. Like, it's fine.
Also, I don't like the little type font either. I just wish they used stuff that was more legible, and I wish the graphic box was larger and sized more properly with Mortiis. Because I like how it actually looks, but it's the way they've pieced it together that I don't like. It makes it smaller than it needs to be. And especially the Great Deceiver. I feel like that's much smaller than it needs to be. I feel like that's on purpose.
I'm thinking
just
picture
don't
this
like
on a
the
vinyl,
choice.
not on our phone screen. That's the other thing. I think it's perfect for vinyl. It's exactly what it is. It is a deceiving album that when you look at it, you know it's going to be somewhat heavy, and this is somewhat heavy.
Mm. My biggest beef comes from something me and Carson dealt with, which is zoomed out. And I realized today that I have only seen this album with blue light glasses on. So it was never gray in my brain, the words. It was always like the mute math yellow that we had that discussion about. But Nope, it's been gray the whole time, and I had a whole fight with Carson about it not being gray.
I don't remember what album it was, but again, this one gives me the CW in 2011 vibes.
Oh, which one was
The
it?
hands also kind of creep me out.
I think that's on purpose.
That's on purpose.
It's
yes.
definitely
I think
on
that's
purpose.
a positive.
I remember the thing you're referencing.
Yeah, I
Oh, it
remember-
was motion. Silhouettes in Motion. Sea Space Cowboy,
Okay.
or whatever that album is. Silhouettes in Motion is the song off of it.
But yeah, art cool. I just don't like the words and how they're done.
That's fair. Let's get into album overall. I gave it a 9 out of 10.
I gave it an 8 out of 10.
You guys know it's a 5.
I gave it a 7.5.
Like I said, take one track off, and it's a perfect album for what it is in my brain. I mean, everything that Carl's pretty much complained about is stylistically what he wanted to do, and it's something I stylistically enjoy and like. It's my taste, so yeah, very much like this album.
Yeah, there's a lot of noises I'm very fond of in here. You know, 9 Inch Nails, Rob Zombie. I'm going to throw them on a playlist all together, and it's going to be great.
I agree somewhat. So I agree somewhat. Some of it's stylistic, and then I don't like it. I also agree that objectively, some parts of the mix are just terrible.
Oh,
Not subjectively, like objectively, parts of it are terrible. But
I think that's the outsider art part of black metal that I just latch on to accepting, because you're not supposed to like it. I don't want to hear you. We talk about outsider art in here all the time.
I know.
You are not supposed to like the mix of black metal.
No. I understand that, but like you pointing the vocals thing out to me made that make more sense, and I'm less mad about that. But certain choices were made that are just not pleasing and do not work well together, and overall everything was really small sounding and just very weak sounding, and it's the opposite of the energy of the entire album. And I know that's partially like the black metal thing, is to take all the bass out and just peak all the treble at a certain frequency, but it was weird.
You just listen loud.
I turned it up as loud as I could physically stand listening to it through a very, very high-end listening system.
That was the problem. You need like Dollar General
Yeah,
headphones.
you need a garbage can.
Well, I got cheaper headphones out and tried it because I listened through the Sonys earlier, and I got cheaper headphones out and tried it. I even tried to EQ it in Apple Music. I went to manual mode and tried to fix a few things and just tried to get a sweep to help it. There are some choices that I would... If I had submitted a project that sounded like that when I went to recording school, I would have failed. I would not have been told those were interesting objective choices or subjective choices. I would have failed. That's the real answer.
He doesn't like it.
You're not disproving my point, though.
No. I understand. No, and
you're just proving my point, actually.
No, and I'll give it. Again, I said 2 points. You know, if you take my scores and add 2 points, I think you're pretty close to right.
I was reading this online. This is regarded as one of his better albums, and everyone it was at about 75 of 100, so 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that comes down to just poor choices on the mix. I think a lot of it would come through better.
I think what I learned is that I probably like some of his other albums better. This one's got... I mean, I'm not, like... I don't hate any of this. I think a lot of it's not for me, but a lot of it is. A lot of the electronic side of it is. Less of the industrial part.
Yeah, to find a good split.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I got.
I learned that I was more into industrial. I was like, oh, yeah, this is just hell yeah music to me. I did write down that it was hell yeah the album, at least in my brain.
I don't know, man. I just feel attacked. I mixed a metal band that only read Dr. Seuss books over blast beats and helped mix that album and did fine. Like, I don't hate music.
Oh, I don't think you hate it.
I don't think you hate it.
It's just, man, I'm struggling.
It's okay to not like something, man.
No, it's just...
It is perfectly fine to not like something that is specifically catered to a stylized market. This guy is the Goblin King making electronic music as mixed like black metal. That's a niche market, man.
And that
You have
must,
to be a special kind of person to like it.
yeah, and that must be it. Is it's one of those things. It's like one to the left of things that I actually like. So much pickier, and then you
I
shouldn't.
think you would also like his more electronic stuff.
Right. You also shouldn't mix anything other than black metal like black metal.
That
you
is
shouldn't,
true.
And it's like punk. Nothing should sound like punk that isn't punk. We had that discussion with a band that made them very mad about me not liking their mix. So, there's some stuff. Choose your style wisely.
All right.
All right. So, this is the end of season 4. We'll be back. We're going to take a week break, and we'll be back right after that. I think it's the 2nd, maybe? Yeah, July 2nd. We'll be back to review Power Windows by Rush.
Love Rush.
Yeah, I'm excited. Guys, don't forget we're coming up on some milestones. So anybody that likes, subscribes, leaves us comments, any of that stuff, we really appreciate it. It does help us. It really does.
Speaking of, I would say the account name, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. But he's been requesting Rush for a while now. He's gonna get it.
Yeah. Also, leave suggestions if you want to see anything coming up on a new season. That means it's time to introduce new stuff. You can be the catalyst.
We'd really like to have the band's good album for once. That'd be nice.
Yeah,
so
that is
if you could do
true.
that for us, just once.
If you could give us
Give
their
us the
best
terrible
album.
ones. The absolute dog albums.
In case everyone isn't aware, we typically get the lower rated albums of an artist and then realize we like their better stuff. It's real funny.
Oh yeah, in case anybody on the couches didn't know, our first 4 weeks of season 5 were determined by fan comments. So
Oh, cool.
See, you guys do matter. Slightly.
You always matter. Don't listen to them.
We love our fans. Thank you guys for being here. We hope to get 1,000 soon, and then we hope to keep going and keep you coming back.
Keep them what?
Nope.
And
see you in
we'll
2 weeks.
See you.